Hello, 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 and welcome to yet another Rag Company podcast. That's right, we're your crew. Dane, Levi, Anthony, all here, ready to talk about some detailing, some cars, and whatever we did this weekend.
Welcome, Dane.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
thanks for joining us on this day.
It's, putting a little presentation in there.
Presentation?
Got to do it every time. Presentation.
Oh, no, Dane.
Pronunciation is key.
What kind of situation is this? It's not. Nobody wants to be in a prison, especially you, right?
Yeah, well,
We'll find out later.
Any rate, that was a weird way to start this. Thanks, Anthony. So,
That's
guys,
what we're all about, getting it
what
weird,
are we talking about
started.
today? What's going on?
Oh, well, I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about?
I want to talk
today?
about some house cleaning, right?
Okay.
Yes,
So we're going to go
let's.
through, talk about the rag company, talk a little bit about some stuff going on around here.
Let's get this. Let's light this candle.
So, most of you may have noticed that the new the IK trigger sprayers
Back in stock.
back in stock last week. And so a lot of people have been picking those up in the single packs, the 5 packs.
Telling
which is
me,
fantastic,
sister.
Awesome, love it. So I just want people to know that there is still plenty of stock, right? And so some people are really worried. Okay, if I don't buy it, is it going to run out again? We are hoping we don't run out of these again
Let's
here in the
just
future.
say we bought a container.
We
them.
did. There's a lot of
We saw
lot
how
of
much
trigger
people
sprayers.
wanted them the first time. We decided we're not going to get caught not having enough next time.
And
so.
we are the only ones in the United States that are carrying it currently still.
We are. It is. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So that's one thing that's been going on. Another cool thing, if you guys haven't tried the Kovach Chemi line, I've seen a lot of people tagging us and stuff, and people getting their hands on stuff and trying it for the first time. We know Ricky Colon down in Puerto Rico, right? Tried out Motorplast, shared it on his story, which is super cool. We got Joe Wetzel of Vigor Auto Detailing. He was using the GSF the other day, and so I've been kind of getting tagged in a lot of stuff, seeing people use the Kovach Chemi product line, as well as our Grand Ambassadors too, because there's a few Grand Ambassadors that we chose for this quarter that were already familiar with the Kovach Chemi line, which is super cool. And so we have Prestige Detailing down in Australia, down in Perth, and he is a huge fan of microcut and finish. And he's been sharing some really, really cool shots of that as well. And so I tell people, if you haven't tried the Kovach Chemi line, give it a shot. Try it out. I think some good starters. Hands down, the GSF, Motorplast, the FSE. I'd say even their glass cleaner is pretty killer. Anything that you would recommend, Levi?
You've pretty much named all of them. The one I'm really excited to come into the U.S. still, we're just waiting for the labels, Top Star.
Oh, man, I know. The Top Star is going to be pretty nuts, man.
That's their interior dressing.
It's good. It's really good. It's one of those, like, you get a lot for what you're getting, and a little goes a long way. And the second you throw a sprayer head on that bad boy, it's nice. So sprayers, Kovach Chemi products. If you guys haven't already prepped your car or started to get prepping your car for wintertime, probably should get started on that, because it's getting cold and we're all losing daylight no matter where you're at.
I know.
And so I know that myself, I'm going to be prepping the Civic here probably in the next 2 weeks. Katie's going out of town. I want to start getting that stuff dialed in, and I'm going to do a full exterior detail. I'm talking, the full meal deal, do a polish on it, and then I'm going to coat everything, and I want to get that prepped for winter. Truck's good to go. We already got that.
Truck's ready.
We already got that knocked out, but
worked out the kinks. You were saying you're having some issues recently, and you did something
I'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Yeah, it was definitely some kinks and some quirks, if you know what I mean.
I like this.
But if you guys haven't jumped on it and started, thank you, Dane. Started picking stuff up to be able to prep your car before wintertime. I mean, now is the time.
And the other thing that people need to remember, not just the outside.
No, inside as well.
Got to get the inside. You're going to be inside more in the vehicle. And we got cold and flu season coming up, folks. Yeah. So, again, another reason to get on. You're going to prep the car for winter. You're going to do all the outside stuff. Get the inside cleaned. Well, if you guys haven't cleaned it, do a deep clean on it. Get everything wiped down.
And
make everything look great.
When it's cold as hell outside, right? As our friends in Norway say, basically
colder than hell.
Colder than hell. So basically you're not going to want to go out and do a full vacuum and do a nice deep clean of your interior when there's snow on the ground.
No,
let's be real. You're not going to do that.
No, get it cleaned up, get it ready to go, and get everything wiped down, and make sure you've got some products. Yeah. Maybe in the vehicle, especially during cold and flu season, so that you can wipe down.
What do you think
about when you pop out and get some gas?
Ooh, yeah, pop out. What do you think about Tri-Clean?
I like TriClean. I like even the mini bottles, the Smart Sample Kit.
Oh, perfect.
Great setup to purchase because a lot of those little bottles you can just put in your center console. You can have some leather guard. Yeah. You can have you can have TriClean in there.
Well, no, I put Fallout remover. I grabbed the wrong bottle and
don't
put
do
that.
Yeah,
okay,
don't put Fallout remover.
Okay,
but grab the appropriate ones.
Of course.
Throw them in the center console with maybe some eaglets. Right?
Yeah, perfect.
So then you got a couple little towels. You can clean your steering wheel, and if you do it right, you can just leave that towel sitting on the seat of the car while you go shopping, do whatever, and reuse it. That way you got something to wipe down the steering wheel with. You're not wiping it down with alcohol, which is very dangerous for your leather and your vinyl and stuff and a lot of your interior components. So try and use, some of the actual soaps and things like that to help clean that. The color lock systems work great as well.
Yeah.
So any of the color lock products are also antibacterial and can help wipe and clean all that off. And they are more of a soap base, so they are designed to help break some of that off. But the act of just wiping that steering wheel clean, wiping those door pulls clean, wiping down your interior is proven to help reduce any transmission of any type of bacteria.
Amen.
Period.
Love that. Well,
get ready for it.
So I don't know about you, Levi, but I'm a huge advocate. I'm a huge fan of rubber floor mats, right? I am just a huge believer in having all-weather rubber floor mats. I think that they not only hold everything, I think that they're easier to clean. It basically eliminates my need to vacuum. I also like that you can really scrub rubber, get it back to looking like new almost every single time. And I just think that they're extremely chemical resistant and everything that kind of in between there. And so I myself have rubber mats in technically all my vehicles.
Yeah,
and
you do.
So I'm a huge fan of rubber, and I basically...
I also a plethora of rubber mats in all my vehicles.
Yeah. It's better to be protected, right?
Yeah.
You want to go in, you want to have the right stuff. And
that's
so
right.
Being a fan of rubber,
better to have the rubber.
It's always better to have the rubber. Dane, what do you have in your Jaguar?
In the Jaguar, I have the original carpeted OEM fabric.
Oh, those are going to get destroyed.
Before you guys decide you want to dogpile me for this one, I'm just going to point out the fact that last year's winter was extremely mild.
It was.
And
but you
a
can't
lot of
plan
people
on that.
don't know this who are listening, but actually, I am famously well known in my own household for always, anytime I get a vehicle, the first thing I go do is get rubber floor mats for it.
Except for this
The Jaguar was the only exception, and that's because...
It doesn't make any sense, Dane.
That's because...
Normally you would get... Why not get some custom-made WeatherTechs?
The Miata had them. The Volvo had them. All the Sport Track even had. Not that it needed it, but all of them get it.
Didn't live long enough.
It's like the Montero. He's like, I bought the full WeatherTech system. Why?
I bought cheap ones for the Montero because it didn't really matter. But the fact was, I still got them for it because it just made sense. And normally, I don't want to be tracking mud and all that stuff in there. I'm more careful with the Jag, but at the same time, this year I am going to get some because I have a sneaking suspicion this year's winter is going to be a little more extreme.
Can't wait till you put the studs back on the
Watch
Jag.
me drive it in the winter and watch everybody cringe. You know what? Some cars are just made to be driven.
Watch Dane get smashed.
Don't
Dane, you
don't
might
put
be,
that evil on me, buddy.
You might be the best driver there is. But you can't account for the other people on the road.
As long as
and
you
the
pay
ice.
attention to your tire compound and make sure it's appropriate for the temperatures that are
Dean,
outside.
what do you have on there right now?
They're high-performance tires. However,
no.
they are.
Dane, you have Continental Extreme Sport Contacts. Same tires I've got on the Camry.
Yes.
Great winter
They're
all-weather
all
tire.
Good. Yeah.
They are all-weather performance tire.
Yes.
They're a great
they
tire.
Are. So that's why I'm
You
not
have a
overly
great tire on
concerned
there,
about
yes.
having trouble in the winter
Just think how
unless
bad that be though with some
things
Blizzaks on there.
get extremely slick.
Yeah, rally car.
However, it's nice. It doesn't solve everything. Just like having all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive in the snow and ice doesn't automatically make you a superhero. There's plenty of ways to screw up even with that.
Studs and steel wheels on front-wheel drive cars.
Good tires.
It really does.
Car enthusiasts know
Little
this.
goats are what they are.
Anybody who's hung out on like a message board in the last 10, 15 years knows, oh, here come the guys who talk about how they drive their Crown Vic with the really nice tires and they can go all through the winter. Yes, it is true. With good tires,
a lot of Crown Vic
you can make it through.
message boards? Or?
The point is, you have a lot of torque and rear-wheel drive. Okay,
Wait,
God.
why
I
are you
can't
looking
enjoy
at-
any
why
car
are you
enthusiast
looking
stuff
at-
without you guys
Why are you
weighing
looking
down
at
on me.
Crown Vic
We love you so
message
much,
boards?
but we just like on the Crown Vic. I'm like, it's a very specific board to be on.
I hang out
Hold on. Is it because
Car message
the
boards.
underpinnings of the Crown Vic are similar to the Jag? Is that why?
not it
Is
at
there
all.
any
that why?
relation to the Jag?
They're
and Crown
rear-wheel
Vic?
drive. They're V8s.
They're
They're
Fords?
Fords.
No, okay. So this is where
this
your
where you're
own
getting
lived
your-
experience can vary greatly from others.
How many Crown Vics have you owned?
0. So because there's this Jalopnik, famous. Okay, wow, guys, I'm gonna give you a little history lesson. So famous car blog website Jalopnik, which everybody claims is going downhill for years.
One of your favorites.
There
you love
is
the
a
Jalopnik.
message board that
Great
was run
read.
through their comment system that was called Opposite Lock, which then became a Facebook group. And there's a whole bunch of history there. Anyway,
Yeah.
way off base. But basically, amongst those car enthusiasts, there's always somebody who's like, Miata is the answer and, all the best. It's like all these memes and stuff.
Yeah, correct.
But the one of the memes is there's always a guy who has a rear-wheel drive car who talks about, I drive all through the winter in the snow in my rear-wheel drive car. And it's almost always a Crown Vic or something along those lines. And it was something because Crown Vics are a popular car to pick up used because you can get them cheap as like a little beater daily. So that's all it is. It's nothing else. That's all it is.
All right.
So it's
Thank you for
basically a very
explaining yourself.
specific anecdote, but
Gotcha.
you guys really pressed me on it. The point is, with good tires, you can do a lot through the winter. It's not going to save you, but the Jag also has a winter mode, so I'll have you know. There's a button I push, and then the gearing and the tuning all changes based on traction. So even though it's
be
rear-wheel
nice.
drive, I mean, it's hardly a remarkable thing. Lots of cars have that stuff. But the point is, they thought of it.
The Elantra doesn't.
Because
have
it is
that.
a grand tour. It is
the
all
Honda have that?
seasons,
No,
all places,
Honda
all
or the Ram
roads.
does definitely not have that.
Yeah, the Suburban doesn't
That's
either.
it. Yeah, Evo definitely doesn't have that either.
Camry doesn't have it.
So I'm gonna just get right out the way here early and say I'm gonna get my weekend started here.
Okay,
So
go for it, Dane.
My
Okay.
weekend was pretty short.
hold on.
Oh.
Sorry. I didn't get to finish what I was trying to say.
sorry.
Though.
Go ahead.
So what I was trying to say is the rubber mats, right?
Yeah.
Big deal, right? I was thinking, right? If anybody would be interested in watching, maybe we do a rubber mat cleaning video. I know that's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm betting a lot of people don't know that you can
Fun
use
fact. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
that you can use brake buster on your rubber mats.
You can. Also, if you have a rubber mat that you've already cleaned and you don't really want to put a dressing on it, but you want it to make it look a little better,
Yeah.
great product. What was leather cleaner
Yeah.
on a rubber mat
Yeah.
Good move.
using a horsehair brush?
Yeah.
Just give it a nice little scrub down after it's done. Hit it with a towel, wipe it up. Makes the mats look almost brand new
Wow.
without leaving them slippery or greasy or any of that kind of stuff.
Didn't
I'm
even know
immediately
that.
reminded of that time we did my Montero in the driveway of Nick's dad's house, and you guys pulled out my floor mats and cleaned them there. So anybody looking for a quick, super quick and dirty version of mat cleaning can go there and check those out.
I think we even hung them from the Montero and just, how you normally
What
have like
difference
a mat
would it
hanging
make,
clip.
really?
We got
We
some
just-
clamps and we just drove
No,
down the
I
road.
just rolled down his window and wedged it into the window, and I just pressure washed them.
I like that.
Right
Yeah.
on the.
That's right.
on
You
the
did.
car.
I remember that.
So
Yep,
you'll have to go
not
watch
a-
the video to find out what I really
Not,
did.
not a very valuable
Anyways, all right,
vehicle.
Dane, let's go straight into your weekend.
How was your weekend? What'd
So
you do?
I wanted to touch on my weekend because it's probably the shortest of our bunch. I haven't done a lot lately. I've been kind of like
You've been
hanging
relaxing.
around the house. But one thing I did this weekend was I actually got the dog groomed.
Very nice.
She
Ooh.
need a little attention, and because
Did you do it in your bathtub,
my
or-
jungle of a backyard. No, I actually set up an appointment with a dog groomer and everything. Very nice, and she came back looking fluffy
Was
and
it
soft and adorable.
was it
as ever.
affordable?
It
look, there's
was
Kelly.
actually
Oh my
relatively affordable.
gosh.
And I did this
Oh,
to trigger
no.
all the detailers. I wanted everybody to
I love that
scream
you got
and
her a bone,
cringe.
but you
I know.
put it on.
So I did this. I did this intentionally to share with the audience so that people can look and see what people who are not horribly overly concerned with taking care of their interiors. That is pleather.
that's a-
Toyota leather
that's
is
a
some
leg of a
very
cow.
cheap, durable stuff. And you know what? You get a nice oily bone. You can put it on there. I did this intentionally as a way of showing I'm going to use my vehicles the way they were intended to be used. This
But
is
the
meant to be an
dog was-
off-roady truck.
No, dogs are supposed to be in the back of a car, Dane.
It is in the back of the
No,
car.
back of the
She,
truck.
she is in the back
Dane,
seat.
Here's the
did
deal.
you put-
As a
did you
fellow
put-
truck owner and as a
Did you
fellow
put color lock like, did you put the color lock leather protector on that seat before you did that?
Is there anything on those seats
Is there
to
any
protect it?
sealant? That's raw
Oh,
factory. No. Wow. Okay.
You talk about it as if it's like super
You know, Dane, that's
rare,
a lease. You have to give that back in 2 years.
Boy, I know some detailers, and boy, I work at a place where we have some of the best detailing
Dane,
products
you can do all
available
that
to
yourself,
us.
but you didn't
I
use
can
them.
definitely do it myself.
See?
I'm just doing this as a way, like, everybody freaks out, but the fact of the matter is, just detailers, you can chill. You can calm down. If you want to be overly wound up about stuff, that's fine. But for some of us, it's okay. I see that scratch.
Dane,
you know what? I'm going to look past it today.
I would be
I'm gonna
okay
live.
if you would
it's
have
okay.
done the due diligence and put the protector on
But no,
first,
see, the point is, I'm
and then
doing
said,
this.
check it out. It's cool, though. I've got color lock protector. You guys can purchase that at theragcompany.com.
He's
Pick up some
talking-
color lock right there. Do
You
this
could've
yourself.
just
I'm
laid
making
down
a
seat.
teachable
You could have
moment
just put a
here.
towel down and made everybody so much
No,
happier.
but see, I did that on purpose. I did that on
blanket.
purpose so I could share that photo today, and people will be like, "Ugh!"
So,
but
Dane,
at the same time,
what
you're gonna live,
Okay,
guys.
what
You're gonna
would have
live.
happened
Remind
though?
us not to
What would
sit
have
in the
happened
back.
if that sweet girl, that beautiful dog, right?
She looks gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh,
what,
yeah, she's
what-
super happy.
What if her nail would have gone through
Punctured that leather.
and punctured that leather?
Her nails are actually dulled down. They're
Well, now they are.
trimmed
But
and-
Now
what-
they are,
but
but
what-
previously.
Previously.
Well, I file them.
Oh.
Okay.
So point is, like, not to go down that tangent, but the point here is, if it were jag leather, absolutely no way in hell I would do that. Absolutely no question. I
Has she ridden in the Jag before?
She has never set foot in the Jag.
Okay, good. All right.
The thing with the Toyota Tacoma
built
off-road
for that, right?
that I have is that Toyota
Did
leather
you tag Toyota in
is
that post?
probably not.
Oh, sure.
But the thing with that leather is it's like pleather. It's very tough. Stuff rolls off of it. It's not this super luxurious leather. It's made to be durable
True.
in a
However-
high use environment. And I am pointing out that there are many ways
right.
that you can traffic soils
You're not-
and dirt and
you're
all this
not
stuff
wrong,
onto
Dane.
it.
You're
So I
not
took
wrong.
an oily bone, put it on there, and then to compound all this, I then went up 8th Street again, had some fun off-roady time, got things a little muddy, a little dirty, a little dusty, and that's just like use things the way they were
washing
intended.
that truck?
Me. It's
Oh.
fine.
I thought you were gonna say us.
No.
Yeah,
At the
Sam,
same
I
time,
wash
though,
your
look at these guys. They have like a total trauma
We've been scarred. The Montero ruined us. Dude.
Yeah.
You made us
The
clean that.
point is,
Frightening.
I think too many people get too wound up. Come on, folks, stand up with me. Those of you who are, I get it. Our audience is detailers. There's going to be a lot of
Dane.
guys who are like, oh no, you can't do that. It needs to be perfect and clean all the time. I'm here to tell you, for those of you who don't get overly wound up about that, it's okay. We can be calm about it. Things can still get clean. Things can still get detailed. You get it dirty. I'm going to drive my car the way it was intended. Okay. A little bit higher performance machine, fine, drive it. Have some fun with it. Don't have to, putz around town and be super slow and super calm and
I
chill
think I know
about
why
it.
all this is coming about. You want to know why this conversation is
Why?
happening, Levi?
Why?
So Friday night, right, or it may have been Thursday night, Dane sent this very haunting video, right? He sent this video to the group chat, right? That basically talks about what's going to happen when the end of the world and the end of the world and the end of the
I remember
universe
that.
and
I
the
didn't
black
wanna
hole.
watch it.
And,
I didn't
yeah.
watch it.
It's
and the
actually an
black hole,
amazing
and it's like
video.
I said,
100
no
trillion
thanks.
billion years,
Yeah.
right? It shows everything.
Okay,
right?
so before you do
Yeah.
that, if you go to YouTube, just type time
No,
lapse
Dane, we're not
of
gonna
the
make-
future.
no, we don't
and
need
it
that.
is fascinating and it's beautiful and it's a little bit scary.
Just so you know, the thoughts and views based on that video do not apply to the Rag Company or any of its subsidiaries
basically,
or
what has
affiliates.
you
happened
clearly haven't watched
is-
it.
Even though the
Dane-
Prince of the
It's
Rag Company
science.
is
Dane
talking
has
about it.
watched this, and basically, his mindset is, okay, well, we're all eventually just going to be in a black hole, and basically there's going to be nothing but darkness, right?
I'm a little bit of a
for a
nihilist.
billion trillions of years, right? And so, and I was really like, okay, well, there's a heaven somewhere in there. We're just not showing it, right, at this time in this video, maybe part two.
Well,
but,
the Mars is the closest to the Earth it's ever been.
well, no, that's gone too, right? So everything's gone. So I think after Dane
Put it
watched
this way,
that,
I'm not particularly worried about that
so
point.
I think after Dane watched that video, he was just like, well, we're all gonna die anyways. Might as well just drive the things like the things like they're supposed to be
No.
driven.
See, that may have influenced some of the thought process subconsciously, but actively, the brain was thinking, man, I've seen a lot of posts lately about people who just get horrified at the sight of like a bug and possibly it etching in and stuff and things like that. I get it. I understand it. There's a lot of folks here who are just learning, getting into detailing, and they want to learn these processes. They want to learn.
Vehicle?
What?
Do you know the process of turning and returning a leased vehicle?
Yeah, it's got to be clean.
No.
What? Okay. What game are you playing? What's the answer?
Not
here?
playing a game with you. I'm just telling you.
Anytime he gets this tone of voice and he gets a serious look on his face,
when
I know he's about to do something. I want to know where he's going with it.
When you return a lease, there are a subset of standards that the vehicle has to be at.
Sure. So mechanically sound, no body damage, cosmetically in the right shape. So
cosmetically, you need to have scratches no bigger than half an inch.
Okay.
Or you get docked. Yeah. Your interior needs to be free of all tears, leather cuts, or stains.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a single one to be found.
I'm just saying, in 2 years, if you keep... So there are a number of people that come in and would take out a lease vehicle. They would just drive it. Yeah. It's a car. It's got to be used.
Yeah.
I'm not going to care for it. I'm not going to do anything. They take it back.
That's the difference, though.
And then what they do, they go run it through the car wash because they're like, it's clean. Take it through the car wash. They don't realize all the damage that they've done to the vehicle.
They don't have the eye for it. They don't know what they're looking at.
Throwing stuff in it, using a truck for hauling purposes, not realizing they bought a lease.
Yeah.
They take the vehicle back and they get docked. And all of a sudden, the equity that they had in the vehicle is now discounted because it's just like it's just like moving out of a house that you've rented or whatever. You know, and you do a walkthrough.
This is mostly for the viewers because you're not telling me anything I don't know right now.
Okay, good. That's why I was asking. That's why I asked you
so
if you know
the point
what
here
is part of that.
I've already made the clear decision that at the end of this lease, I will be purchasing.
Very nice, Dane. Thank you for alerting all of your fans.
I will not be holding on to it for that long. I will be purchasing it. There will be equity in it compared to any other vehicle.
True.
And I'm going to turn around and get myself a new freaking Bronco because I want those.
Yeah. So point is so that's the reason that the coating market is as big as it is. That's the reason PPF is as big as it is because of the ability to do all this stuff to a lease vehicle and be able to protect it to the best of your ability. That's why interior coatings are as big as they are. That's why
the people are protecting it from themselves.
It's to protect it from people who put their dog in the back on a leather seat with a big greasy bone.
And here's the big difference.
That's what the protection's for.
The kind of person, and I'm really painting with a broad brush
here.
The kind of person
that thing stains the leather, Dane?
Great.
And you don't know.
We have excellent leather cleaners. I believe in their ability.
No, the cleaners can't fix it.
Oh no! Whatever will I do on this black leather?
You're going to have to refinish it. But that's the point. You have to do that stuff.
So
the point is,
I just want you. I want you to use the vehicle and enjoy it to your heart's content. I just want you to be aware. Please don't just destroy the vehicle to prove Anthony and I wrong.
Now here's the thing.
That's
you think I'm actively going out of my way to do it?
I drive the Suburban in the exact same way.
I drive a Dodge Ram 1500.
I'm a man of
I don't know
calculated
anything.
risks.
I know you are.
So anything I do, there has been thought put into it.
Baconator fan
there has been extensive thought put into all of the other possibilities of things that could happen. I have no control, ultimately, over what happens in the end, but I can certainly do my part to make sure that, okay, I'm going to treat these things as appliances, as utilities, as a vehicle that's meant to do certain things. TRD off-road, gee, maybe if I take it off-road once in a while, I'll actually get my money's worth out of it, appreciate it, and still at the end of the day, it's a Tacoma, and as long as I make sure it is cosmetically and mechanically sound, it will hold its value, and then some. For right or for wrong, some people look at Tacoma values and go, that's stupid, I wouldn't pay that for that. But the point is, in this lease situation, you're setting yourself up, potentially, if you're willing to buy the vehicle at the end, for a pretty good situation. I mean, what I would owe on it compared to what somebody's willing to pay for it actually looks pretty favorable to me right now.
I agree.
And put it this way, I'm already a good chunk of the way into the lease, and I'm nowhere near my yearly limit for that first, year, any of that stuff. I have 2,000 miles on it right now. That's it.
Nothing.
That's it. I drive it periodically. But when I do, I try and enjoy it. The way nature intended.
I don't want you not to enjoy it.
So
I want you to enjoy it.
Before we go throwing out accusations that I'm just doing stuff to try and, rile people. I did say that. I did say I did that particular picture to get people a little wound up. But at the same time, that was a calculated risk.
So
I would not
everybody
do
knows,
that with other
If you
leather.
also feel that Dane is destroying his truck, please send your emails to dane@theragcompany.com.
What I was waiting for.
Your false assumption would be that I do these things
So
all
Dane-
the time
so-
with
I feel like you do
extreme
sometimes,
prejudice.
Dane. Like you
That is not
scare
the
me
case.
sometimes.
No,
So, Dane-
sometimes I just like to do things to prove a point, and I find that people get wound up over silly things for no real reason other than to have something to get wound up about.
yeah.
Now, if you're watching and you agree with that sentiment, come on
Email
over to the
Dane at
Dane side. I'm saying.
theragcompany.com.
So
Dane,
there's
fill
a lot
that
of
what I
inbox.
wanted to say is I thought that the whole thing was worded beautifully, and I thought that pitch was nice. I was really waiting for you because you're like, I cannot change the past, but I can manage my future. I thought that's when you were going to say, don't forget to vote on November 3rd, 2020.
I mean, hey, people do
there
your
you
thing.
go.
I
But
was really expecting some type of extra pitch there,
Yeah.
but
No,
So what
I'm
else
laying
did you
off
do?
today.
So change of subjects. What else did
Yeah.
you do this weekend?
So that was the majority of it. I just wanted to
Okay.
have some fun,
Oh,
give the
just a
truck some
taste.
off-roading
Yeah.
attention. Changed the oil in the Jag, did some other
Nice.
stuff. But all in all, very chill weekend. I'm enjoying the weather change with the rain coming in now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really liking that because I know you guys aren't quite as
no, it's,
fans of
it's
it. but-
depressing.
I love rainy days, Dane. I don't know
Okay,
if you
well
knew that.
then
I
you
do
and I
not.
are we get along on that. So
how do you can't get anything done out there?
it's a drizzle. It's light. It's nothing crazy.
I don't like getting wet. I'm like a cat. Hate that.
So,
My cats
any
like to
rate,
get wet.
point is, I will take a rainy day over a scorching hot, miserable day of sunshine. And I know that sounds weird to some people,
Yeah,
but
no, I'm the same
that's
way.
just me. I grew up in Seattle, so I'm acclimated to it.
Yeah.
Any rate, that was basically my weekend. I wanted to throw that out there. And yes, I will tell people, if you want to have your mind blown, go to YouTube and type in time lapse of the future.
Don't
It
do it-
is
don't do it-
fascinating.
don't do it before bed, though.
Fascinating
It
stuff.
will
I
mess you
watched
up.
it at 1 a.m. or
No,
wait,
then you
when was
messaged
that?
all of
No,
us.
it was more like 11. Any rate, it was one of the last things I watched before bed, and you might get some weird dreams or nightmares. Just saying, but it's pretty fascinating. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
But there was one other thing that I just thought was interesting. This
Yes.
is like a little off the cuff. I sent Nick a picture. He can probably throw it up here. I was driving in the Tacoma on my way home, and I came upon this blazer here
Ah.
that said, I have tested positive for COVID-19, help find a cure. And I found it interesting because this was the first time I'd seen somebody actually like write on their car
Yeah,
as like
pen
a
marker. Nice.
both a call for help, but also kind of a warning. So it's like, oh boy, okay, so that's interesting. But I don't know, guys. Like, write in if you've seen other cases like this where somebody actually like wrote on their vehicle. That's interesting.
Yeah,
so
I've seen
that was
that,
just
but
something kind of
usually
random.
doesn't
Came across. I
involve
was like,
anything
oh,
like
Are you
that.
there on? I see you're on Franklin, headed to the mall.
yeah. So I'm actually headed back home on Franklin, just kind of taking the
going
roundabout
the
way.
west
I'm
way.
next to the auto mall there, and just
Yeah.
kind of heading onto the freeway on my
that's-
way back.
I knew
Checking
exactly
out,
where you
checking out some new Jeeps.
Yeah, because that was actually just up the road from where the dog groomer was. So
very
yeah,
nice.
that's how that worked out. At any rate, that's my weekend. Sorry if I upset
How
some
much
people
does it
with those
cost
pictures.
to groom a dog of that size?
Depending on places I've gone, it can get very expensive, or others not so bad. I've been some places where she cost $160,
Whoa.
and I've been some other places where she was about $50.
Okay.
The problem was you
How
go to
often
the
do
cheap
you have to
place,
do that?
they might do something wrong.
How
And if you go to
often-
the expensive place, you're just
How
throwing
often do
money
you
at
have
it.
to do that?
Maybe once every 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
So it's not
year.
all the time, but she is a very fluffy dog. She
Yeah.
has a lot of fur.
I used to have
so.
I used to have a chow when I was a child.
Well, chows, I love chows. They're a little angsty though, aren't they?
We had a corgi chow.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for those who are wondering, my dog is a Great Pyrenees mixed with a Red Heeler. So that's why she looks the way she does.
All right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was
The
just
more you know.
wondering. So
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay. So, guys, now that I've totally ruined our day, what do you got going on?
I like,
well, hey Dane, thanks for having me. I just
You
got
bet.
back from the orthopedist.
How'd
How'd
that go?
I have the shoulder of a 90-year-old man,
Oh, that's not good.
and I need Tommy John surgery on my right arm,
Oh,
my
no.
right elbow. So
no.
great stuff.
That's not a
guys.
joke.
Hey,
That's for
all right,
real.
we're bringing it up. So no,
So let's
yeah.
talk detailer safety.
So, no, I did just get back from the orthopedist, and this is second time I've seen him in 8 years. He said, I do need to have surgery on my shoulder, but I am not really at a point financially where I feel like I can take the time off.
Okay.
I mean, my job here would be fine, but it's the side gig, the side hustle that's going to be affected.
Detailing.
So, because I'm not supposed to use my arm for at least 6 months.
That kind of limits you.
With this shoulder surgery. So that's going to be one of those things I got to wait and see on. So we're going to be doing a cortisone shot on ultrasound first to find out exactly where we're going to put the cortisone and then put it in.
I haven't heard of that before. So that's basically, it's like that allows them to target. Because I know echocardiography.
Yeah. So then it's a direct ultrasound, and they can find the calcium deposit, go right in. Then on my elbows, I'm going to be doing some physical therapy because there's only a 60% success rate for Tommy John surgery in the elbow. So, but I do have copious amounts of calcium deposits and just foreign bodies floating around in my elbows.
So that
and
just
my
kind of
shoulder.
hardens things up and makes it
feels
difficult.
like gravel.
Oh.
So, but he joked because I said, yeah, my elbows and joints feel like gravel. And after the x-rays, he was like, yep, see all this? This is basically gravel.
You have a loose driveway hanging out your arm.
Yep. So, so next week I go in for the cortisone shot, and then I'll start physical therapy next Wednesday to try and work some of this stuff out. And the goal is that, I basically said, like, if Carly was working full time, then it would be easier for me to go like, okay, I don't need to detail on the weekends for a while.
Sure.
I can cut back, I can do some other stuff. But because that is the breadwinning, so to speak, to bring in for that kind of extra cash, it's not possible.
Now, I have a question. I'm curious about this. So for the folks watching at home, listening, who are aspiring detailers, they're young, they're just getting into this. Is this hereditary? Is this from detailing? Is this some combination of things?
This is all from detailing.
Okay.
But what I have is I do have a lot of osteoarthritis.
Okay.
Some of that may be genetic. I'm not sure. But
you would assign most of it to actually
most of the
detailing.
arthritis is from overuse of said joint, overuse of said, movement. It's basically repetitive movement.
Okay.
So we always talk about muscle memory.
Yeah.
And you guys joked. You've said many times, I hate when Levi kicks on, like turns on, because
I'm trying to shoot a video, one of the first times we did like an evolved video, if you guys look at the old Jeep Liberty foam cannon video, I hated that video when I edited it, and now it's like it's been our most popular one for years, or at least in the top 3 or 4. And the reason I was upset with it was I felt like when I was shooting it, you weren't slowing down to allow me to get the shots at all. You were just going, and it's like, okay, I understand muscle memory, but I was like just trying to keep up, and I felt like I was missing out on good shots because you were in the mode. You got to get the job done.
Like
and
my
I
body
understand
gets to a point where it's going to do the job.
But it was my way or the highway, so I was just like, okay, boy,
and
all right.
But that's how it is for a lot of it. And it is just that muscle memory of going like, I'm doing this thing, and I don't stop until I get to till I get this part done.
You have gotten better about it with time and practice, but that was early on. That was just like steamroller. You're either with it or you're getting run over. I tell you,
once we get started, we're not going to stop on this.
Right, yeah,
because
you usually mention
it's going to be hard for us to get back into the groove of it or get back into the rhythm of it. And so there are times where you've figured out now, and I'll just leave a static cam and I'll get in here and I'll do some fun
I've spent
stuff.
enough time with both of you guys shooting, watching the way you work and stuff. I know personally, and Jimmy has learned over time, how to shoot you guys in a way that makes sense for the way you work.
Yeah, but the point is the muscle memory. So doing that, repetitive motion the same way for the last 15 years, 20 years has caused all this damage. Yeah. So the joke was 10 years ago when I saw him was he said, do you remember when your hands first started tingling when you were polishing cars? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you probably should have seen me then. Do you remember when your wrists started hurting every day? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you probably should have seen me then. He goes, do you remember when your elbows started hurting? I said, well, yeah. And he goes, you should have seen me. What has happened is he says the hands did all the work, took on all the heavy lifting. Yeah. They failed, right? They stopped working.
It passes the burden along.
Passes the burden to the wrist to pick up the slack. So your body inherently, it's like a retreating army. They're still fighting, but they're falling back to different positions. So the hands and the fingers and the joint muscles fall back to the wrist to help take on the slack. The wrist falls back to the elbow, and then the elbows fall back to the shoulders to take on a lot of the burden. You don't notice it until they start hurting.
Right.
So the point is, I came from a very high production, heavy, fast, dirty shop.
Yeah.
We worked hard, we worked quick, we worked fast. The damage done was probably accelerated because of the speed and nature in which I used to run and work in a shop.
The way you were taught and essentially forced to work was a way that didn't really do you any favors in the long run. If I came into
detailing now,
that was going to be my next question.
Like, let's say this. Like, if I came into detailing now, this day and age, with the advent of all these other options, being able to install PPF, paint touch-up, that's very easy to do, tinting, create a one-stop shop that had different stuff, and maybe I was breaking up my days doing 4 or 5 different types of things on a car, another story.
Yeah.
I probably would still get it after a while,
but you could
at least,
areas. You could delay a lot of the things.
Correct.
Yeah.
But, or if I came in, let's say I went and got a job, I wanted to detail cars, and I got a job working for Lupo Motors or Lupo Auto Spot, where my boys are now.
Yeah.
They get to do fun stuff.
Well,
they only do a few cars a week.
The pressure is reduced significantly, having
come
from the environment they were in before.
Yeah, the pressure is reduced greatly for them.
Yeah.
When they're working on one car for 2 weeks.
Because that one car is going to pay for a lot.
Yeah, that one car is bringing 15 or 20 grand for their detail.
Whereas before, you're working on 15 to 20 cars just to,
Yeah, right, exactly. And so that's kind of the difference. So nowadays, we've got lots of benefits with the tools. We use the new Udos machine. My thing was, less vibration towards my hands.
Smoother machines.
Far less vibration. However, the machine is now half a pound heavier.
Right.
Which changes the use of your muscles.
Yep.
When you increase it by half a pound.
Yeah.
And you've got to do the same motion, just like if you're lifting weights. If you increase that half a pound and you try and do the same number of reps, you're going to feel it the next day.
Amen.
Right?
More weight further out is always going to.
So now there are changes. There are things to be watching and be able to make sense of. But point is, I'm super excited to start my physical therapy journey. But the point is, guys, keep an eye on yourselves. Make sure that your bodies are, you're listening to your body. You're listening to your pain levels. Take care of yourselves. Try and do some stuff in the right way. And make sure that you're keeping your joints as strong as you can, the best way you can.
Supplements help and stuff in the case of but
I'm allergic to a lot of fish oil.
Well, okay, so that makes it
you don't know that.
Well, when I take it, I throw up.
Maybe it's a particular fish oil you're taking.
Just don't like the flavor.
So something that
maybe it's because you're biting into them as
they squirt juice in my mouth.
Sick.
They're so gross. Well, stop biting them.
So
it's supposed to swallow a whole.
So a fantastic fish oil that you can take, Levi, right? This is something from my bodybuilding days, right? Something I think you would appreciate because it's from the Norwegian Sea.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
They're called Nordic Naturals. They are
I like the sound of it already.
They are a Nordic fish oil, right? That come from Norway, right? Mm-hmm. And these are a highly potent fish oil that they actually flavor as lemon, right? And they make a point to argue that the fish oil is so pure and so good, right, that you could bite into the capsule itself and only get a lemon taste, right? They're able to mask that, right?
I find hard to
and
believe.
They've also
you should get some of those, and I'll take bites of them.
And
are those going to be the new Fisherman's Friend? Nordic Naturals and Fisherman's Friend? The alliteration. I am loving the alliteration.
Popping those bad boys.
One fantastic thing about Nordic Naturals is they also love to work with other media outlets and things like that. So we might be sending an email to Nordic Naturals, right?
Yeah.
And they have strawberry mini ones for kids that taste like strawberry. Anyway, so those
just seems fun.
Those are hands down my favorite things when I was lifting weights, right? Because the potency of those versus like the Costco ones I have been taking, like the Costco fish oils, I would take 2 to 3 a day, right? The reason why you take fish oils, right? Not only is it good for circulation, it's good for heart health, it's good for joint health, it's good for your skin, right? So if you have bad breakouts or if anything like that, typically it helps with that and it helps with your skin.
What about dragon hide? Does it help with that?
It does help with dragon hide. And so it helps with kind of a lot of these different things. So I was taking like 3 of those, right, just to get my daily dose in versus 1 of the pure Nordic Naturals.
Very nice.
And basically I actually felt cleaner on it. I felt better. I didn't have an upset stomach, didn't have fish burps. And then I also my joint health was just killer. It was the best it's ever been. And you can feel it. And arthritis runs in my family pretty bad.
I'm gonna have to look those up.
Yeah.
But those are fantastic. The other great option, right, that you can get into is Costco actually sells a lemon creme, right? It is a lemon fish oil cream, right, that tastes like a pudding, right? You basically
sounding questionable.
So what you do is you squirt it into a spoon, right, and you just eat this spoonful of it's basically 750 milligrams.
Is this an alternative to?
It's an alternative to fish oils, right? I think personally, us all having Norwegian heritage, me being 2% Norwegian, right, and Levi being somewhere around 6%. Hispanic.
Right. I've got 8% Mexican in me.
Yeah, okay.
And the majority is about
I'm
60,
pretty sure
70%.
I've got a lot
I'm
more
sure
than
you
European.
do. I'm sure you do, Dane. Considering all the hair that you have on your face.
Mostly Scandinavian descent. But
what I'm saying is that's one thing that any detailer can do right now, right? Regardless of whether they're lifting weights or anything like that. Fish oils are just a fantastic alternative. And the big difference, too, between taking an omega-3, 6, or 9 supplement, right? Basically, your omega-3s are going to come from fish, typically, right? And then your 6s and 9s are going to come from things like flaxseed and other nuts, right? It's going to be your different types of fatty acids. And so how it works is basically when you have vitamins, right? So your vitamins can only absorb so much before it's excreted by your body, right? Basically, they don't stick around for long enough because they're typically water soluble, right? And then there's a little bit of fat soluble vitamins in there, but typically all the water soluble vitamins. That's why when you pee for the first time after taking a multivitamin, you're like, wow, this is like it's like highlighter yellow, whatever it would be, right? Because it's basically excreting all the stuff that you're not using.
Yeah.
Now, and so a multivitamin per day, right, is typically going to be a one and done thing, right? It's not going to stick around for long periods of time. Your body's not going to continue to absorb a lot of these minerals and a lot of these soluble vitamins. And so what ends up happening is that when you start taking a fish oil or something like that, it's a long burn, right? Because it's basically those omegas, right, or take a while to break down within your body, right? So they stick around. They stick around in your circulation. They stick around in your body. So that's why some people only have to take maybe one a day, right, or maybe one every couple of days, and they're fine. They feel pretty good on them. But whereas other people, where they really want to get the most benefit out of it, they'll take multiple times a day. And so, but it's just one of those things, man, to where look at all the people that live near oceans that eat fish. If the fish doesn't kill them, they typically live for a very long time. So,
and look out for those puffer fish, folks.
Yeah, don't.
Want a big thank you to Anthony there for our
I love
supplement
that
hour,
because I think a lot of people forget some of your background. You know a lot about that kind of stuff, and you're not just pulling it out of your butt. You really know what you're talking about. So.
I used to know a lot more. It's because you're not using that information all the time.
You're not using that muscle set.
So I could break down like every single branch chain amino acid. I could tell you what each and every single one does, and I can talk about the benefits of getting this amount.
So if you're listening and you want to hear more than just detailing, but maybe a little of that, let Anthony know. You never know when that opportunity may come up again.
I'm not practicing what I preach right now, so I don't feel confident.
Well, clearly I'm not either.
Here's what we do.
You guys
to
are
my
much
weekend,
better shape than me.
Yeah.
Detailed a car out of the MOSHQ.
Ooh.
Friend of mine, I've known this person since 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Detailed their car for him, got it looking all sharp and clean and stuff, and did a Uno bead maker combo on it. Thought it was great.
Nice.
Loved it. Looked gorgeous. Cleaned everything up. Very nice. 4Runner. Got that done. I bought a new paint gun as well, so I can paint the seat on the Suburban. So I got a new HVLP gun.
Wow.
How's that working?
HVP.
HVLP.
HVLP.
No, don't mix up the letters, because that's something completely different. Yeah,
but
don't do that.
But I got it. Got it all set up.
You don't want that.
Sprayed the color lock dye yet.
Gotcha.
But I did spray some water to make sure I had the spray pattern right and made sure everything worked. But got that all set up, so
you're ready to do some painting.
Ready to do some painting on the leather and get that going.
You could do a camo job. You could do a little mixing, a little green on there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But picked this up, got it all ready to rock and roll. And then also recorded the trailer to my new podcast.
Wow.
Master of Shine at Home. You can listen to
amazing.
it. You can listen to that trailer right now.
What
At
platforms?
Anchor.fm. Currently, it's
Anchor
available
FM.
on Spotify, so you can pick it up right now. And I'm in the process of recording the first episode. So once the
Wow.
first episode launches, should be picked up by iTunes and other podcast
And
stations.
Wow.
other major streaming channels.
Wow.
Once they hear how
Okay.
good the content is.
Yeah.
So this is like deep dive stuff, right? Like,
This
what's
is
your
deep-
first subject?
This is deep dive. First subject, me.
Oh,
Okay.
That's literally what I'm doing. I'm going to talk about me. I'm going to talk about how I grew up. I'm going to talk about how I got
That's
into
good,
detailing. And
Any,
just
any
do
past
the...
girlfriends?
No, I'm not going to talk
Okay.
about
We're
that.
gonna get that
but-
far into
he's
it.
like,
We're gonna do that, and then
divvy around that
I want
subject.
to try and make characters of the MOSHQ. So
Mm-hmm.
talk about myself, how I got into it, all that stuff. I'm gonna bring Augie and Hadley in. I'm gonna tell the story about them, how they came to be, with what they were like when they were babies,
Oh, I
what
didn't
they
know
were
you were
like.
talking about how they were.
I'm not going to talk about
created.
how I made
The
them. I'm going to
creation.
talk about
Okay.
them since they
From the
arrived.
beginning.
Yeah.
Everybody
Um,
needs an origin
But
story.
then I want to interview my kids.
Yeah.
I want to talk to
That's
them.
cool.
I want to tell some stories. I'd love to interview Carly if she'll let me, and just talk about us and what it was like and
I think
things
Carly
like that.
would be good on
Yeah.
a microphone. I think that.
Yeah.
I think
She's
that she-
great. She's been
I
on
think-
some podcasts. She
well,
does quite well.
I think she has a good voice, and I think that she has a good personality, and I think that she can be plenty entertaining.
Yes.
So, Carly, if you're listening to this, I think you can do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Thank
Wicked
you.
sense of humor.
So, but the point is, I want to talk about that, and then I'm going to do kind of a Q&A style. So, one of the great things about that Anchor app is you can leave a voicemail on there for any of the podcasts that provide that. So, going to be able to going to do that and just talk about maybe what I'm working on or what I'm thinking about in the shop that week or what I maybe had a thought or an idea or something like that. You know, that's just kind of what the goal is. I'm going to let a lot of the listeners be able to just do that Q&A part where they want, if they've got some questions, man, I'll answer. Any kind of shop talk, any kind
Podcasts
of
are the best
hangout,
for that. Yeah.
just something like that. So if you guys want to, make sure you go to the Anchor.fm. You can download the app, or you can just go on Anchor.fm.
What's the name of it again?
Master of Shine at Home.
There you go.
Wow.
Very simple podcast name. Master of Shine at Home.
I like
Nice.
that. MOS.
And now we're all just going to have to do
At
spin-off podcasts where we
Mosa.
can go in
Mosa.
depth into the
Yeah, I like
stuff we
that.
really care
But-
about that no one else
Well,
here on
yeah,
the show is
so
going to want
That's kind of the goal of it, and so just
The Mosiah.
oh.
The Mosa. I don't know.
No.
something
Ooh,
like
careful
that.
with that one.
Sorry.
But
Yeah.
anyway, it's ready to go. So we're gonna be. If you guys want to listen, feel free. Download, find it, and
I
thank you.
think it'll be interesting.
I like
Anthony,
that.
what'd you do?
I think that media side hustles are fantastic, right? I've been thinking about starting one myself.
Just don't
Right.
become a
Like a YouTuber?
entrepreneur self-help person. We have enough of those out there already.
No, I was thinking about having a cooking show.
Oh, well, that's totally different. Do that.
I sent you guys a video last night, and none of you guys even responded back. I took vodka and I put it inside some grapes, and I thought it tasted delicious, and nobody.
I was
nobody
wondering what you were
even-
doing. I hadn't looked at
Yeah,
my phone when
yeah.
I.
I'll
was
get into
midnight
that.
when
I'll
I
get
picked
into
it
that here
back
in a
up.
little bit. But okay, so my weekend started off Friday night. Man, it was.
Should I send that video to Nick so we can?
No,
See?
no. Trust me. I think that there's some stuff that maybe shouldn't be shown. Friday night. It was an amazing night. Right, I was so happy. So as I explained previously last week, the Ram, the Dodge Ram 1500,
Yeah.
was making a new sound.
Right.
Ooh.
Sounded like that thing had a turbo diesel underneath the hood of
It
that
was whistling.
thing.
But
It
not
was
in a cool
whistling.
way, in a
But
not
that's
cool
the problem
way.
is that thing doesn't have a turbo diesel or turbo or anything like
You'd
that.
know.
So it was
Well,
making this.
you literally called me in the middle of the night and said, "I think someone did a motor swap, and I think I now have a diesel."
I think I now have a diesel. It says 24 valve
And I was
Cummins on
like-
it.
Yeah, I was like, that's-
there's a
why would
Cummins
anybody
or there's a
swap?
Cummins.
You realize
it
that
says
6-bolt
Cummins on
I
it.
said, and I remember going,
Mummins.
that 6-bolt's very long. It's a very long engine,
Yeah.
Anthony. You would know, and it'd be very hard
I'm
to
like,
do that swap.
It's I'm like it's in the dash.
Yeah,
I feel
It's
like I
in
lost a lot of horsepower. I'm just waiting for that increased
That's what I was
torque
like,
to
I'm
kick
pretty
in.
sure
It hasn't
that's
happened
exhaust
yet.
fumes.
I think that's your AirPod case you were looking at.
So
there.
So I've been trying to track down the sound for like a week, and I couldn't figure this freaking thing out. And I've been driving myself crazy. I've gone to every single forum. I've made posts on Facebook saying, "Hey, help me find the sound," because the sound would happen upon a cold start.
You were looking at eBay turbos to put on this thing.
I was.
And you were worried that you might not be able to afford one because the engine would be bad.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, who knows? So I was trying to track down the sound. Basically, cold start in the morning. For about 5 minutes, it would make this whistling sound. And once the truck warmed up, it would go away. Couldn't figure it out, right? There was a vacuum hose. There was all these different things. And I'm like, you know what? It's probably something super freaking complicated. Even took it down to Mike, the old TRC mechanic down the street.
Yeah.
Had him take a look at it, right?
He couldn't find it.
And he was just like, I don't know. He's like, honestly, he's like, if it's not causing a problem, don't worry about it. Just deal with it. And you can't deal with things. That's just not me. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
I can't just deal with
It's going to drive
that.
you nuts until you know.
So Friday night, I was like, I'm just going to, I'm going to take off this air box, see if I can get a closer look or try to track down the sound a little closer. I go to pop off the air box, and what do I see? Pop it off. I see 5 pieces of this gasket fall off of the thing. And I say, no way. No way. No way.
So it's not sealing properly?
So I pick up all these broken gaskets that are they're so brittle. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, is this it? Like, this is my problem, this one gasket? I said, no, it's not possible, right? There's something more involved than this,
That's
right?
too easy is what your brain is saying. There's no way, too easy.
It's too easy. So I start looking around, still don't see anything. Found out my valve cover bolts were loose. Don't know why. Tighten those things up. But then I thought, okay, well, regardless, I got to go replace this gasket. I got to clean this. It's the actual intake, right? Mm-hmm. It's the whole induction.
So where the airbox
area.
is it closer to the manifold or?
So no, basically this is the intake manifold that I have to clean,
okay.
right? So it's the top of the intake manifold, completely dusty, right? It was dirty.
Well, remember, there's an intake manifold and then a throttle body on top, and then the airbox.
So correct. So basically that. Where the air box gasket was dirty, and I'm like, holy crap, well, that's where a lot of the induction is happening. Mm-hmm. Went down, got some cleaner, sprayed the thing off, cleaned it all up, made it look pretty good. Put this new gasket on there, put everything on, and I said, here it is. Let's see what happens. Started it up.
400 extra horsepower.
No noise. Noise is completely gone. I was so blown away. That's the first time it's ever happened in my life. Nothing's never that easy for me ever, and I really genuinely mean that. I mean, I usually
this
break
Ram
something.
wants him to love it so much.
It does.
It's really going out of its way.
Well, think about you looked at the valve covers and you were like, you were able to tighten the valve covers.
Yes.
There's something to be said about simple
and it didn't even
mechanics.
Leak. Yeah. It didn't even leak. These bolts were literally hand tight, hand loose.
Yeah.
I could turn with my hand, and the truck still didn't leak. Not even a drop of oil, right?
Yeah. You just had to tighten it up a little bit more, put that new gasket
Put that thing on.
Yeah,
dude.
buddy.
This truck is now running better than it's ever ran since I've owned it, right?
I'm just happy.
Granted, the transmission's still a very clunky transmission, and there's
that's a separate thing.
That's just a separate thing. But it's purring, it's running good, right? No more sound, and I swear to you, I am getting better gas mileage.
Oh, that's a guarantee.
I don't know how I'm getting better gas mileage, but I am getting
if all
better.
that dust and dirt was also passing through your MAF when it was getting in there, the actual mixture would be different as what's going through your system.
Dude,
so, yeah, you probably are getting better mileage.
Gas mileage. It's way more powerful. My airbox clips were broken, so I took some zip ties, and I kind of created this apparatus around this, and I zipped it all down, right? Perfect, basically a brand new airbox.
Oh man!
I mean, you don't get these kind of memories, right? With a 2020 vehicle, right? You need a 2001 Dodge Ram 1500 to be able to experience.
If you had like a 2020 Tacoma, you wouldn't have.
What a loser! What
enjoy,
loser drives a 2020 Tacoma?
I know, Dane. That's what I'm saying. But you wouldn't be able to enjoy the kind of benefits that you get doing these, backyard,
the headaches,
shady,
the late nights,
shade tree mechanic style. Stuff, it's similar with the Suburban. You don't know what it's like to be able to just fill it with oil because it's empty.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Well, the beauty of the
feeling.
8.1 is everything is oversized. So
yeah, well, I don't trust anything doesn't bleed.
It's experience, and so I was like pretty amazed, right? So that all buttoned back up together. Super pumped on that. I'm thinking about throwing a K&N intake filter in there, right?
You're going to replace the entire airbox with a Typhoon intake.
I'm not
Instead, just do a Spectre. Get a Spectre drop in.
So you know,
high performance, high quality items.
So that whole
I got a Spectre on the Elantra. It's amazing.
that whole intake area, I just don't see that
Dane's
sitting
got
on
two
there
of them
right.
on the Jag. 2 Spectres.
Yeah.
I actually do want to see about doing
No, it's
some
just
kind
the
of
drop in.
aftermarket
It looks
air
exactly
intake
like
for
a K&N. It's an oil
Well,
style filter.
I'm just gonna get it. I mean, the K&N filter is like what, $40 for that truck. So I'm just gonna.
Spectre's 20. Think of all the extra mods you get to do for an extra $20.
Sometimes
air fresheners.
things are more expensive for a reason.
or,
though.
or gas.
So I'm just saying I might pick one of those up just to see if there's maybe any more of an improvement. I think more of throttle response is typically what you get.
That's a big one.
I did a drop-in filter on the Civic when I first got it. Barely noticed crap. But it did have a better throttle response, and so that's maybe what I can hope to get out of the Ram. That maybe a little beefier tone coming out of that exhaust. You know,
with that thing, it's such a simple system, and it is OBD too because it's after 96. You could probably do a little flash tune on it or
There's
something.
a lot of
have a
stuff
little
you can
fun.
do.
I'm sure you got
I'm
options.
not gonna do that. You can't. All you can do on that truck, I think, is adjust timing and change your gears.
Well, and that's just it. Sometimes
Can
that's
we
all
get
it takes.
Here's the
and
question.
you would get better
Here's another one.
mileage in the process
Do
too,
they make
usually.
a gear drive for the 318?
I don't even know.
So we would replace your timing chain with a gear drive, which is 2 gears
Yeah.
that fit inside the other 2 gears.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Sounds like you got a supercharger.
Dang,
The 318
that
is
sounds amazing.
such an old motor that I guarantee you it's got
It's
some
one of the first
funky,
mods I
cool...
wanted to put on the 8.1
Oh, man.
was get a gear drive. They don't make it.
Oh, dang. Well, anyway, being back to the story. So Saturday, rainy day, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, didn't do much, man. I pretty much stuck around the house. I finally set up my PlayStation that I haven't played in 5 months. Played a little bit of Call of Duty after downloading, I think it was 90 gigabytes of
I hear that's
updates.
huge. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's almost like they don't even want people to play. And so I did that for a little bit, kind of hung around. I did completely organize my desktop on my computer. That was something I've been wanting to do for a while now, is just clean up things.
Like your stapler and like your
No, I'm talking like
lamp
literally
and
like on my computer, because I'm
your
very,
actual desktop.
Yeah, I'm very cluttered on there. So
His digital desktop, not his physical
I had to
desktop.
go and get like a new SD, not SD, but a new disc thing, and to convert a lot of stuff, boring stuff. But did watch this new show, The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh, is that made by the
something
same
like
people
that?
who did Hill
The
House?
Haunting of Hill House, yes.
Which is actually a great show.
So I'm
by the
about
way.
4 or 5 episodes in. Not a scary show so far, right?
Yeah.
Not Hill House. That crap.
Their thing
there
was
is some-
more creepy, eerie.
Yeah, it is more eerie.
I like those kinds of movies, though. Like
Dane, you would love The Ritual.
Ritual. I hear that's horrifying.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Anthony
No?
and I both watched it.
Oh, you both
Said it was
talked about how
delightful.
much it was
It's a
just like
fun
a
tromp
complete
through-
nightmare.
Watch it with
It's
your
a
kids.
Fun friend romp
Whoa.
through the woods.
So,
Yikes.
anyway, back to this. I'm going to try to finish this up
Yeah,
as soon as
go
I
for it.
can.
Gorgeous scenery.
But yeah, so watched like several episodes of that. Good show. We still need to finish that. Sunday, I basically had a day with Katie. Me and her got to go into Costco, into breakfast, and things like that. Saw Marshall over at the breakfast spot I went to, with the griddle, and which was a new employee of the rag company.
Yeah.
John's brother would call him Little John.
Yep. The Raven.
And the Raven, yes.
They're more
And
alike than you'd think.
They are very alike. Did that, hung out, spent some time together, and that's when I wanted to get some more of that shop lighting in. And so I finished the rest of the final 2 shop lights. So I have 6 on my ceiling of the Sunco wraparound shop lights, right? It's freaking bright in there. I love it. I literally couldn't be happier. It's just amazing. It's got complete coverage over the whole garage. I still have never had a electrician chime in to tell me what the hell I'm supposed to do with that ground wire that apparently just doesn't have a ground.
Yeah.
But from what I've read, right, the importance of a ground is to protect yourself, not necessarily the fixture from any major problems. Basically say that if there's an issue to where the power wire, right, your hot wire was touching the metal fixture, that fixture would become a live fixture to where if you touched it, you would shock yourself, right? They say the ground is what negates that.
Yeah.
So in my theory, I'm thinking, well, I'm not planning on touching my ceiling lights while they're on for any reason, so I'm not too worried about it. But
And you've got a convenient bug zapper.
I'm just trying not to burn down my house, basically.
I think we talked about it before. When you were at Lowe's, did you install lights and like light fixtures at all? anytime, like actually install fixtures and the display units or anything?
I typically just help people load brick into their car and answer questions about plants I didn't really know.
Because they put me into doing that without giving me any kind of electrical training.
Oh, perfect. That's
so
good.
that was super cool. But I did have one guy like show me the basics. And he's like, as long as you do it this way, you won't screw up. But if you see anything with different wires, I don't know how to help you. And it's like, okay, cool. I guess I'm going to learn. But yeah, just no.
That's
got
how
a little
Dane was able
zappy
to install that ceiling fan in his room.
Well,
Hey,
you know, I actually can manage to install some light fixtures, so I got that going for me, which
I don't
is
like
nice.
doing ceiling fans. I did 4 of them in the
Ceiling
house.
fans aren't fun because you have that brace.
I don't even know how to
in
do
the
it.
I have
ceiling and
one
stuff.
still to install. I have to remove this old fan and put a new one in, and I want to change them because I was looking and I was like, actually, this one's really nice. I want to put it in our theater and move the cheaper one into the other room.
And you keep putting it off.
And I
you're
put
like,
it off because I got to pull one and then install it. So I kind of got to do a. Not really excited
It's
about
not
it.
fun. It's not as easy as
Especially
just doing the
with
light.
my 90-year-old man's shoulder.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
So,
wouldn't recommend it.
Dane, I need you to come over and help install some ceiling fans.
Noted. Okay, well, I'll be thinking about that. But
and then the last thing I
continue.
did was I took my grandma to a movie. Went and saw the Goonies, or not Goonies. Went and saw Hocus Pocus.
Oh, very nice.
classic.
So took my grandma to the movies.
Great
and went
movie.
and
So
did
much
that.
fun.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and she was super pumped. So, but yeah, overall pretty good weekend. Nothing
Nice.
super crazy. I don't really have anything major planned. Like I said, Rams kind of finished in my head, right? But now I've been trying to drive the Evo more. So this weekend I drove the Evo, and I'm gonna keep trying to. It's good weather,
Well,
guys.
it's exciting
I know
you
guys
brought
look-
it into
I know
work
you guys
last
look at me like
week.
I'm crazy, right? But this is my favorite time of year because I
Turbo
don't have to
weather.
deal with the bugs,
Right.
Because the bugs are pretty much disappearing.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's nice. I'm not dealing with a ton of rain. I'm not dealing with a ton of crap on the ground.
Yeah, not a lot of
and
pollen.
Not a lot of pollen or anything like that. So I can go and cruise, drive for 10, 15, 20 miles, come home, car's clean. I'm happy.
Nice.
I'm
There you
happy.
go.
I'm
There you
happy
go.
No, that's great. I mean, what more could you want?
Yeah.
But I was also going to point out, before we wrap things up here, there is something happening tomorrow we can talk about. We can give people a little
A
sneak
little bit of a
preview.
live.
Threw it
Live
out
broadcast.
there. You liked last week when we did the Suburban, we did polishing on the vinyl wrap, and I think a lot of people found that interesting because there are people who've thought about it, but they probably haven't seen many videos about it. So by doing it live, we were showing people in real time, like before and after and all that
that was
stuff. So it was
great.
interesting. But this week, we're going to do another live. And when I say this week, I mean tomorrow. So if you're watching this on Tuesday, it's going to happen on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So go ahead and hit the set reminder button. If you can find it here on the Rag Company YouTube channel, you'll see it. Just click set reminder, and it'll remind you when time comes if you're subscribed to the channel. But
Amen.
yeah,
It will
so
also be simultaneously broadcast on Facebook.
yes, that was the next thing I was going to get to was we are doing simulcasting, so you will actually find it on the Rag Company Facebook page, the main Rag Company Facebook page. In the video section, you will see that live stream playing once it goes live at 1 p.m. So it'll be on both YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah.
So either way you want to watch, absolutely fine to do that. And the thing that really helps us, because we're trying some stuff out, we're trying to get more and more of the systems here in the new TRC media facility online.
Think of
And
this
part
as
of this
the
is
Death
stress
Star,
testing.
and we've got to blow up Alderaan every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean,
to try it out, make sure everything's working properly.
yeah. Well,
You
I mean,
know?
how else are you going to know when your giant planet-destroying laser works or not?
Exactly.
So that's what we're aiming for here. We want to make sure stuff works under load so that there's people watching on multiple platforms. Share it around with like all the people you know who are into detailing. We want to just get a lot of people in there. So if you can share it around when it's going live, especially on Facebook, because I know it's easier to share stuff there, but even on the YouTube one, get it out in front of people who you just know are interested in detailing, and watch as we go along on this new Toyota Sequoia that's not new at all. It's like a 2002, but it's a little rough around the edges, but it's a good vehicle there. There's a screenshot right there.
Very nice.
And Anthony posing with some of the items we will be using on it. So when we start off, we are going to be giving it a foam bath. We're going to wash it off, give it a nice foam cannon wash, because you guys are always begging for more foam cannon content. So, okay, we'll do it live.
Hot foam cannon talk.
But then,
love
in
that.
addition to that, we're moving beyond the exterior because we kind of did that last week. We're going to go inside. This is another test. We're going to go close quarters inside a rather large vehicle, get the leather interior, care for that stuff using some color lock.
We're gonna clean it up
products.
and do what Dane should have done,
Right.
before
So-
putting the dog in the back.
So once again, to stress to people who are freaked out about me, putting an oily bone on
Send
it.
your emails to Dane@theragcompany.com.
Yeah, you can send over
Let 'em
your
know what
angry
you think.
emails. The point is, I only do that kind of stuff because I know what it's going to take to
Dane,
fix
I
it
love
if
you,
something
and
goes
I'm
wrong.
proud of you
So
for shedding off your mortal coil.
I just don't
just
want
letting
to
the dog
be
ride in the back.
paralyzed in fear
And with the big
of
greasy
things
bone.
getting
Proud
dirty
of you.
because that
You
is a
conquered-
painful way to be, and if I can
conquered your
avoid it, I'm
fears.
gonna.
Very
I
proud
like
of you.
that.
So yeah, I'm gonna let that be today's message, at least from me. You guys can have your own messages.
No, that's it.
But I think that pretty well covers it. And yeah, all I can ask is check out the live stream on the main channel tomorrow with that Sequoia. It's going to be fun. I'll be in here doing my announcing work like we did last time. Thought it was kind of fun, so I'll keep that, and I'll be narrating as these guys are going along. And I think this time around, you guys will be able to hear me, because last time we were communicating via Nick, and it was a little bit challenging. We got our groove after a minute, but in this case, you guys should be able to hear me.
Hopefully, our new friends at Pepsi will stop by and bring us some
That'd be really
delightful
fun.
drinks.
Oh,
Again,
man.
that was
Yeah.
nice surprise. Get them bangs.
All I can say is look out for those bangs. Those things will mess you up.
Yes, they
All
will.
right. So, on that note, guys, thank you so much for listening, and gals, thank you so much for watching. And if you're not subscribed, you know what
Master
I'm going
of
to say.
Shine
You know
at
where this is
Home
going. Okay,
podcast.
Master of Shine at Home podcast.
It's the longest
Also,
outro of my life, Dane.
But
End it.
I will drag this out until the end of time, or at least where that time lapse of the future took us. The FAQ channel. You know it. You love it. Or if you don't know it and love it, you need to go over there and you need to click that red subscribe button. Make it say subscribe. Duh. Add that D. Give it that D. You gotta
Yep,
make sure you
there
clear
it
that
is.
up, because if it says subscribe, you haven't done your job yet. You got to click and get the D. So, at any rate, the Rag Company FAQ, you want it. You get your short answers. They're direct. And I put a new one out today, actually.
Very nice.
So, the people were wondering about the G-Technic lineup, a lot of different coatings, what they all do. That video is now live right there on the Rag Company FAQ channel. So, go check it out. All right. That's enough of me talking. You guys ready? This is all of us saying adios.
See
See
ya.
ya.